So glad to have you here with us, Catherine, today on the Reinhardt Wisdom Show. I'm excited to learn more about what you'll be sharing today.
Oh, thanks, Rain. I'm really excited to be here too.
And for those of you who are watching, so I've known Catherine for more than 2 years now, I think, Catherine. Yes, probably, or
Absolutely.
around 2 years. And Catherine herself is a holistic coach. She is a Reiki master, so she teaches Reiki as well. She's an actor. I've heard a bit of her story around that. I saw it's very fascinating. And she has a course online that she teaches about empath and the community too that you're building right now
Yes.
amongst empaths. Oh, I'm excited to talk more about it. So first of all, I think before we go into sharing what an empath and all that is, or how can one know about themselves, are they an empath or not? I'm curious about your journey. What happened? Like, what got you here today, even teaching that course right now?
Oh, well, it's quite a long journey and a long story, but I'm going to give you the point four version of how I discovered all this. The first part of it is I did realize there was something different. I would try to pretend that everyone else was exactly how I was, meaning I could feel what others were feeling deeply and have strong, deep intuitions and really sensitive to the world around me. And I felt like it was different, but then I would just try to tell myself, no, it's not different. Everyone else is exactly like this because I just want to fit in with everyone. So there was this kind of denial, but sort of knowing. And I was reading a magazine article about spongy people. And it was talking about people who absorb the energy and the emotions of other people. And I thought, that's interesting. That's really interesting. It's not me, though, because these people obviously are special, and I'm not special, so it's not me. And I kept that magazine and I'd read it every 3 months, every 6 months, I'd pull it out and keep reading the article for some reason. And I thought, interesting. Yeah, that's not me. And then one day I met someone and he had a license plate and it said empath on the license plate. And I just kept thinking about this and I was like, what does that mean? What is that? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to be brave. I'm just going to ask him. I'm like, is your last name Empath? And I kind of know it's not, but I just wanted to know what he was talking about there with his license plate. So he explained to me a little bit and said, well, I'm an empath and I pick up energies and emotions. And he talked a little bit, but then he carried on to something else. And I thought, interesting. And I'm still thinking, no, that's probably not me. Like, he's special and it's not me. So here you have universe and spirit coming in and they give me a license plate, like big, right? Still not. What eventually happened was I was dating someone who I thought could maybe be a narcissist. Friends of mine were saying narcissist. And I didn't know what that was really, other than the traditional Greek story of looking in the water, seeing your reflection, falling in love. So I started researching that. And then I came across empath. And then I saw a lot of descriptions and I went, oh my. I'm like, And I mean, it was a flood of emotions at that moment. Like, I felt relief. And I was also deeply saddened by it because I thought, I've lived this long without knowing that there's things I need to know about this. So I had a flurry of emotions in that moment, but I really felt like, okay, this is me. Like, this is what's going on. So that's how I discovered it. It took quite the while for me to figure it all out.
Could you share a little bit about what an empath is in your own definition?
My definition is that an empath is someone who feels deeply the energy and the emotions of others around them and absorbs it at the same time, takes it on themselves, actually wears it and feels it deeply within.
Thank you. And so, I know you mentioned that you saw this list or this. So if, let's say, if an individual, how would they know they're an empath or not an empath? What are some signs or ways for them to, understand if they're an empath or not?
some of the telltale signs that, like what I like to say, tells the flags of an empath is, so if you're in a room with other people, and or perhaps you're in a mall and there's many people, you feel exhausted. Your energy is drained. Like you were fine when you walked in, and then within a short period of time, you're exhausted. So that's one right there. The other one is the changing of your emotions suddenly. So again, you're perhaps at work and there's a few people around, and you've walked in, and let's say that morning you're feeling really excited and happy. It's, the sun was out, you biked to work, it's all good. And someone comes by, and perhaps, maybe they're either really sad or they're really angry. And next thing you know, you're feeling that. You've walked away from that exchange and you're now super angry or you're super sad. Suddenly there's a switch. It's actually not your emotion. You've taken on someone else's and you're wearing it. The other thing is being in places that are loud and noisy, being sensitive to that. Empaths also, a big tell too, is that people love to come up to you and talk to you and tell you their life stories. They feel like this beacon of light. They just want to be near you, and they feel safe. So they want to share their life story. So complete strangers will do this. They'll come up to you, sit down beside you, and then they're surprised afterwards because they're like, I've never told anyone that before. So it's those types of signs. There's many more. It's empaths also, animals and children will love and sort of make a beeline for them as well. It's the energy, the bright light, the soft energy of an empath. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I remember my daughter, when she was young, we would take her to um, restaurants or certain places where it's loud, and then she would just scream and close her ears. And initially we went, we started realizing, we thought, okay, one incident, maybe she's tired, but then it started happening more frequent. They were like, oh, she is an empath, right? So we decided, to be more mindful, where we take her and supporting her. And I really get that, what you mean about people coming up to you, because they feel safe and share, because I've experienced that before too, as an empath myself. So what's the impact on someone when they take people's energy? Like if they take someone's energy on, what are some of the impact on them?
Well, by absorbing someone's energy, which empaths often are doing this unconsciously, not knowing that they're taking it on. So I'll just step back for one sec to explain, like there's an energy field that you have around you. Other people have their energy field. And it's almost like in passing, it's almost like you've taken on theirs and put it on and then given yours. So they feel amazing. They feel so good just to be near you because they've taken on your energy, and you've taken and it's like cleaning up their energy by giving it to you. It's like you've dusted off and going, here, I'll take all this and wear it. So it's draining, confusing, and it just causes havoc for an empath because it causes that feeling of being lost because it's not your own energy. So you're not living authentically and truthfully for you, and it's like being bombarded, to be honest.
Yeah, it can be. Like I mentioned, my daughter, she just, she gets really, all the energy she's taking was just too much for her, and she can't handle it. So what can one do, if they take this on, and what can they do to prevent that from happening?
Okay, so I'll just touch back a little bit, like when you're saying about your daughter. For a lot of empaths, it does cause anxiety, depression. It causes so much, and they start blaming themselves. So a couple of things that can be done is strengthening the empath in their self-knowledge. Empaths are known for really giving and helping, and always their attention is outwards. So it's to bring this attention to the self and building the self-love, the self-care, because empaths shower everyone else in this, but they forget themselves. It's like there's a wall up and they're completely forgotten. So this becomes frustrating, and it becomes this cycle of just give, deplete, give, deplete. So it's taking the responsibility the truth is, it's a responsibility as an empath to learn and take on that love for you and to reconnect to your power, because all that giving is giving away your power, giving away your love. There's nothing left. So it's that reconnection to self. And this is something that just takes time and your focus, your energy, and it's an important part of being an empath. It's just the journey of an empath. And before that happens, though, if you are taking on others' energies and wearing other energies, there are exercises that you can do to help strengthen your energy. There's protection energies you can do to protect your energy field, as well as there's just common self-care for empaths, such as water. Being by a lake, an ocean, a body of water, the negative ions against the positive ions, you'll feel the cleansing happening momentarily by just sitting by the water, being near water. It'll cleanse your energy field. The other one, nature. Nature is key for empaths. Walking on that grass, find yourself, pick a tree, and I mean seriously, you're going to pick out the tree, have that conversation with the right tree, and you want to get your back right against the tree and the back of your head and stand there and like the roots, your feet rooting into the tree. Trees love this. They welcome you. They do want you to do this. And so you're going to ground and just energize with that tree. That's another way to, bring back your energy. There are a ton of techniques and tools that one can do to recharge.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I have my ritual too. I think before I knew I was an empath, I used to take on people's energy too. Now I've learned to protect, to clear the energy around me. And I found one thing is to be really grounded and present helps not taking other people's energy. If someone who wants to learn more about if they're empath or not, I know you have a program, right, online. If
Yes.
you should speak a little bit more about that and what do you offer in that program?
So I have a couple different segues in programs. One is an online program that one can do on their own. And so there's videos, activities, exercises, and so much to learn and so much deep, deep work that will go on in that. Like I cover, not only is it about being an empath, but when we were speaking and you asked me about what it is that for an empath, and I'm the self-love, the connecting to their own power. So it's going through all of that I have anyone who's taken the course go through all of that. So by the end, they really can step into their own power and really meet themselves right where their power is. And so that's one way of doing it. In my group, I also offer one-on-one coaching to work with me to go through the program and more with me live, online, obviously, through Zoom, as well as I do groups as well. I do have a challenge coming up, an empath challenge. It's the Energy and Emotion Survival Guide for Empaths, going from powerless to powerful, 5 days live at noon in the group. So we'll go through energy, emotions, and all sorts of things that will power up an empath, as well as after that courses in being an empath, as well as Reiki trainings for empaths.
So you mentioned you have a group, and I'm in that group too, right? The Empath Soul Mastery. Is there any requirement for people to join, or they can just join in the group? I'm just curious about that.
If you think you're an empath, you're a sensitive soul, join the group. Yeah, we can throw a link in, and there will be questions, of course, when you're joining, just to ask, what are you struggling with about being an empath, or what do you want to learn about being an empath? But that's basically it. If you feel you're a sensitive soul, then join the group. You'll be among a family of sensitive souls. To be your tribe.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, while someone's learning and understanding themselves. So if you could just say, how can people get in touch with you? How can they connect with you? If you mentioned your social media and your website.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So on Facebook, it's the Empath Soul Mastery Group, as well as I also have my personal page, which is Catherine Malik. And on Instagram as well, it's Catherine Malik. And my website is www.catherinemalik.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing. I think this is important for people because I think the work that I do and you do, we've come across a lot of people who are empath who are not aware, and then they start wondering what's going on. Why am I experiencing this? There's no explanation. So I think to give them at least this base idea and a way for them to like, oh, maybe I am. Let's really now take the time to find out, and then there are ways for them to again, own that because it's a gift, right? At the same time, not take on people's stuff, which I think is really important. So thank you again for being on the show. Before we end, I would like to just ask you if there's anything else you'd like the audience to know.
I think, honestly, the only thing I'd like to add to that is that just exactly as you said about empath and having these abilities being a gift. And often the empath way of life gets a bad rap because people will say it's a curse or it's this problem. It's just really a journey to figure it out. The way I describe it is that you're born as an empath. I was born as an empath too, and I wasn't given the manual. So now that's the deal. I am here to give the manual to all the empaths that I meet because of the journey I've had, so that I can just hand it to them. Doesn't mean that they don't have to do the work. You still have to do the work, but there's like a guiding light there leading the empaths.
I love that. Yeah. And I think it's important in life to have that person or that mentor to guide you. I think that certainly has served me. So once again, thank you for being on our show and just sharing your wisdom with us and your knowledge with us. I'm grateful. And for those of you who are listening, you see on the screen as well how to get in touch with Catherine. Thank you again for being on the Rain Heart Wisdom Show, and I'll see all of you on the next video.
Welcome. Thanks, Rain.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.